Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 dark truths about Broadway musicals.
Adam Jefferson, Washington, Monroe, and Madison started a war, but it's hardly. So we'll ruin the bank, and we'll cripple the courts, and we'll take on the world for America's sake.
For this list, we'll be looking at the harrowing, sinister, and sometimes tragic origins of some of Broadway's most profound shows. As a warning, many of these entries include spoilers and difficult subject matter which may be triggering for some viewers. Have you seen any of these musicals? Share with us in the comments below. Number 10. The working conditions of the New York Newsies. Newsies. Disney had a bona fide hit on their hands when they adapted their movie musical Newsies for the Broadway stage in 2012. However, for the real-life children of the newsboy strike of 1899, it was anything but toe-tapping.
Oh, what would being a newsie ever give me but a dime a day and a few black eyes?
Protesting unfair wages, New York City newsboys halted the distribution of Joseph Pulitzer's New York World and William Randolph Hearst's New York Journal. While the musical covers the challenges of the event, it washes over the violence that took place.
All right, everyone remain calm.
Let's soak him for crutches!
Anyone caught reading one of the publications would face physical consequences at the hands of the young Newsies. Of course, Newsies is a Disney-fied version of the event, but at its core, it's about child labor, which is pretty unsettling.
This is for kids shining shoes on the street with no shoes on their feet every day. This is for guys sweating blood in the shops while the bosses and cops look away.
Number 9. Hamilton's Past. Hamilton. Hamilton is one of those rare musical theater phenomenons that takes on a life of its own.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who is this kid? What's he gonna do?
The mega musical broke records and created a frenzy that led it to a filmed version for Disney Plus in 2020. After its streaming debut, many viewers called out the show's lack of historical accuracy, particularly how it handled the topic of slavery.
Even now I lie awake, knowing history has its eyes on me.
Real-life figures like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, who enslaved people, are left off the hook in the musical largely. Then there's Alexander Hamilton, who is referred to as a, quote, abolitionist, but many scholars argue over the truth of that title. Plus, there's evidence suggesting he traded enslaved people for his wife Elizabeth Schuyler Hamilton's family. The musical's creator, Lin-Manuel Miranda, welcomed the feedback, calling the criticism, quote, valid.
The sheer tonnage of complexities and failings of these people I couldn't get. I did my best. It's all fair game.
Number 8. Bonnie and Clyde's Crimes. Bonnie and Clyde. Produced for the stage in 2009, Bonnie and Clyde made its Broadway debut in 2011.
I got some moves that I'd love to show you.
The musical covered the tale of infamous robbers and couple Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow. The show heavily focuses on their love story, often painting the two as dreamers. However, it would be hard to sympathize with them in real life.
If I can pull just 3 jobs a year, I'll be rich. I'll have wealth and fame. Everyone will know my name.
Wait, what does that mean? Pull 3 jobs.
What do you think it means?
The couple committed many robberies against places like banks and funeral homes and killed 11 people over 2 years. Their reign of crime sparked a massive manhunt that ended with the pair being ambushed, shot, and killed by Texas Rangers. No matter how you look at it, Bonnie and Clyde's story is a bleak one. Number 7. Sweeney Todd's Penny Dreadful Origins. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
And the tale of Sweeney Todd.
The tale of Sweeney Todd.
He served a dark and avengeful god.
Before Sweeney Todd was haunting the Great White Way, he terrorized readers in 19th century England. The Demon Barber of Fleet Street was introduced to the world through Penny Dreadfuls.
I have them all here. Drawings of everything you've ever dreamed of doing.
Costing only a penny, the booklets featured gothic and macabre tales and were published on a weekly basis. Todd made his literary debut in a dreadful called The String of Pearls. From then on, the tale of the vengeful barber was adapted into plays, films, and dance. In the 70s, Stephen Sondheim created the music for a musical version, making it arguably the most well-known adaptation of the eerie tale.
We'll not discriminate great from small, for we'll serve anyone, meaning anyone, and to anyone at all.
Number 6. Emma Goldman's Radical Social Justice, Ragtime. The 1998 musical Ragtime is a portrait of a turning point in American history and culture. The musical melds the stories of several characters from different races, classes, nationalities, and religions.
There was music playing, catching the nation in its pride. Beggar and millionaire, everyone everywhere, moving to the ragtime.
Many historical figures are also depicted, including Emma Goldman. Born in Russia, Goldman was an activist and anarchist who came to America in 1885. Shortly after, she became heavily involved in political activism and fought for many things, including women's rights and freedom of speech.
Let us at last make this the land of opportunity for all people, and not just the owners.
She protested World War I and was jailed for promoting birth control. In 1919, she was deported. One of the greatest lecturers in history, Goldman's radical and inspiring approach to social justice is something that should never be forgotten.
People feather and tarred, my friend, unions broken, and why for children laboring, women still enslaved. Leave your little backyard, my friend, there are causes to die for. Strike!
Number 5. The Story of Andrew Jackson, Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson. Years before Hamilton popularized American history through modern music, there was Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson. Set to rock score, the musical told the story of the 7th President of the United States.
Who am I? Andrew Jackson! And my life sucks in particular.
However, the show doesn't make its subject out to be a hero. It delves into Jackson's imperialistic political approach. Moreover, it also portrays the barbaric way he treated indigenous people.
Sometimes with guns, sometimes with speeches too. I will make them all bleed.
That being said, the satirical show isn't without its faults. Several productions came under fire after the indigenous theater companies and organizations raised concerns over the subject matter, resulting in canceled performances and an ongoing discourse about musical theater and its depictions of history.
So I'll sing the saddest songs of enemies who did me wrong, and the war will go on and on and on and on and on and on as long as we need.
Number 4. The Internment of Japanese Americans in the 1940s, Allegiance.
Suffered in silence, but this we avow will even the score. Be silent no more, it's our time now.
In 2015, actor George Takei brought his family's history to Broadway. Allegiance follows the story of a family living in California. After Pearl Harbor, around 120,000 Japanese residents of the United States were forced to attend internment camps, including the Heart Mountain War Relocation Center in Wyoming.
Why are Japanese American kids so good at math?
I don't know. Oh, why are Japanese American kids so good at math?
Because they spend the whole year in concentration camp.
The show's protagonist, Sam, volunteers to join the military to prove his patriotism and loyalty to America, while his sister Kay joins the resistance. Allegiance is a rare depiction of a part of American history that hasn't received the attention it deserves. Number 3. The Real-Life Murders of Chicago, Chicago. Although Chicago might appear a flashy and fun musical, its origins are pretty dark. The material is inspired by a play written by Maureen Dallas Watkins, a reporter turned playwright. Watkins covered crimes for the Chicago Tribune, including the cases of Beulah Annan and Belva Gartner. The Windy City became captivated by women who were separately accused of murdering their lovers in 1924.
I talked to this guy downtown. He said one jazz killer is nothing these days, but two.
The two became the basis for the musical's Merry Murderesses Roxy Hart and Velma Kelly. Chicago might serve plenty of razzle-dazzle, but it's also a dark tale of love gone wrong.
I didn't know, and then they used to find out, and they helped you say it was her, the night was wrong.
Number 2. The Story of Leo Frank, Parade. Parade is a musical about an American tragedy that needs broader attention.
You don't know this man. I don't think you could. You don't have the right to know a man that wise and good.
In 1913, a Jewish New Yorker living in Atlanta named Leo Frank was a factory manager accused of murdering Mary Fagan. Found guilty, anti-Semitism, racial tensions, and lack of evidence played a significant role in the case. A judge reopened it.
It means a man who isn't guilty doesn't have to walk the plank. It means the gallows still are vacant, and we've got my wife to thank.
However, a mob of angered civilians kidnapped Frank from jail and killed him. Decades later, there's still major doubt. Star witness Jim Conley also became a suspect after a 1982 statement came from another one of Frank's employees. In 2019, a council based in Fulton County District was organized to determine whether the case should be examined again. This heart-wrenching musical returned to Broadway with Ben Platt in 2023. It was met with protests from a white supremacist group, unfortunately proving that stories such as this are still relevant and need to be learned from.
Oh, this isn't over. Hell, it's just begun. Hail the resurrection of the South's least favorite son. It means I made a vow for better.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Scottsboro Boys Case, The Scottsboro Boys.
Someone's gonna say, all right, son, take the train and go back home.
The final collaboration between John Kander and Fred Ebb, The Scottsboro Boys covers one of the biggest cases of injustice ever. In 1931 in Alabama, 9 black men and boys went to trial after 2 white women accused them of crimes. There was no evidence to prove the assaults happened, and the trial featured a white jury.
Hop free. I'd walk all the way back to Atlanta if I could. I wouldn't stop till I got there. No more nightmares. Guards beating me, teasing me.
8 defendants were found guilty and sentenced to death, but ultimately were spared and released from prison years later. The case was a defining moment in the steps leading towards the civil rights movement. The musical, framed as a ministerial show featuring blackface, was met with protest. People like Whoopi Goldberg came to the show's defense, citing that the artistic choices were not to offend, but rather to educate.
I's fine, but I think that lady in the front row is short. She's just never seen so many big black buttons.